Any more backup?
Good one.
This is the scene where we meet Gwen Stacy, this beautiful high fashion model who's on a commercial shoot for, oddly enough, copiers.
Okay, Gwen, I've got a secret. It's my copier. What is that thing doing in my background?
There's been a construction crane accident that takes place across the street from her location, and a giant girder slams through the office floor that she's working on.
Crashes into the building and almost demolishes everything, leaving Gwen Stacy plummeting outside of the building to be saved by Spider-Man.
What happens is that an I-beam from a crane comes through and takes out all the windows. That's the first step.
3, 2, 1, go! 3, 2, 1, go!
And then the second phase is the crane comes through, the crane arm comes through and takes out the second floor. That the I-beam has gone through the first floor, or we'll call it floor 80, and now the crane has gone through floor 79 and dropped that whole floor, which in reality is just all steel and styrofoam, held up by hydraulics.
Everybody stay clear.
Before we decide on the angle that we're going to settle on, a lot of things are taken into consideration. We start with the height of the stage and see what we can get in that room. And then we know that our actress will have to be hanging over the side of the building. We'll have to shoot an up angle, so we have to take that into consideration. So we subtract those pieces from the height of the grid and the stage, and then we know our maximum angle. Now in this case, it was about 30 degrees. So then we'll test different things. We'll test chairs rolling down. We test the actress rolling down to make sure that 30 degrees is adequate.
Well, the real goal of the timing of the chairs is this. We want to be with chairs alongside her. She stops and we follow them over. That's really the idea. Yeah. So I need a retiming of the mechanical effects team. You know,
they were supposed to go over the edge in 16 feet. That one got hung up on something.
Okay. Try and let them go all the way down to the black if you can. For that sequence, I think the most important person was John Fraser. John really designed this giant hydraulic floor that gave way.
What we're going to do right now is we'll just go inside and I'll show you what we call hydraulic hell. What we refer to this as is a gimbal. And a gimbal is anything that can rock and roll like this on different axes. What we have to do is we have to control that, and then we're able to set the floor at different angles depending on what they want the actress to do. We have to drop that floor in a second and a half. That means that all the hydraulic fluid that are in these big rams up here has to leave in a hurry.
Ready, and action!
We had 55 people for 3 weeks. This was all done in 3 weeks. We engineer it, we'll talk it over, see what's best for this shot, make sure that everything is not going to bend and tweak, and then we bring in our welding crew, and 3 weeks later, you're looking at one of the larger gimbals that we've made. There's 1,000 feet of 2-inch diameter hydraulic hose. In a normal theme park ride where it just kind of moves back and forth for any ride, this is 10 times the power required to move all this fluid at one time.
Bryce was a real go-getter. She was willing to be put into these very, very dynamic stunt situations and didn't complain once. I had a great second unit director in Dan Bradley who helped me, and a great stunt coordinator, Scott Rogers, who really rigged up all these stunts with Bryce.
It's amazing. We have, Bryce out there on a little wire, and it's like, okay, run toward us and we're gonna drop the floor before you make it to safety. And she was like, okay.
What's so great about movies is you get to really experience these crazy, crazy incidents, like accidents. You know that you'll be 100% safe because Sam in particular, he's very cautious with his actors and he really protects them.
The whole sequence is really about putting her in peril, so you have to put her in peril. The floor drops and she has to hit the ground, and then she starts sliding, and then she has to actually slide over an edge. Well, there's really no way to fake that. If you just hang on a wire, it looks like you're hanging on a wire, so she has to kind of hold herself a little bit, and she took it. I mean, the more we dished out, the more she took, and, you know, she didn't cry about any of it. At this point, it only drops maybe that far.
Right.
So, obviously out there, it drops as you run forward. Go ahead and come forward. I'm just doing that. I won't even pull you, I'm just keeping the slack. And if for any reason it was to fall, I just got hold of you. You can't go.
The best part for me was when they like pulled away the floor and I was running and there's an expression on my face where I'm just kind of like, ah, because the floor just totally came out from under me.
Bryce is just a total gamer. She just whatever you wanted her to do, hang from a building, slide down a tilted floor, whatever. She was just spectacular. She's a great trooper.
I try to do as many things as possible because it's really fun.
She did a really great job, and anytime that the actress can do that for us, it just makes the scene a lot better because it doesn't tie the director down to shooting over their back. You know, we're looking right at Bryce going down that floor, and it's really dramatic, great shot. She just did a great job.
We did a shot on 2 with Spider-Man swinging in with Aunt May. Well, on this one, we were doing basically the same thing with Gwen Stacy. This is round 2, we got to do it bigger, and Sam wanted to do it a lot higher. And so I came to Bryce, I said, hey, how high are you willing to hang up in the air? We can swing you from as high as you're willing to go. I think we swung her from 50 or 60 feet up, you know, and she didn't complain. She, in fact, you know, at the end, she, you know, really enjoyed it, and, you know, it was quite a rush.
I mean, like that feeling, that rush of adrenaline, like you really cannot get unless you're doing some kind of extreme sport. I mean, it's incredible.
With a gag like this, we'd love to do all that in New York City live, but that's not going to happen. We're not going to take any building time. So what we do is we go to New York City and we get all the extras on the streets, and then we drop stuff from about 50 feet.
And cut.
We made rubber television sets, we made rubber desks, we made rubber chairs, breakaway glass, rubber glass, everything we could think of that we could drop on the street and have people running around. Taxi cabs flipping over and that sort of thing. Now we have that in the can, as they say. Now we're going to duplicate it once again. What happens is that on a scene like that, they'll put everything together. They'll put our stuff together from the stage. They'll take the New York stuff, and they go, is there anything missing in between? And yeah, there's about 5 minutes of the scene missing. Well, that 5 minutes of the scene will generally be a quarter-scale model of that whole, of the building, of the crane, and that ties it all together because there's no way that you can do all of that. And so we bring in the modeling team.
Today we're taking a 6-scale building and we're running a modeled version of the crane through a floor of the building. This shot was built from scratch. There was none of these components existed 4 weeks ago. The model was scaled to that plate that they actually shot in New York. So when they take these 2 buildings, they can composite them and line them up. But for this shot today, it's there's two cameras that we're concentrating on. One is one high camera looking down on the building, and the other one is chasing the crane into the building. We speed the film up to slow down the screen time. Slowing down the screen time gives the illusion of larger components. Being that the model is scaled smaller than reality, gravity and various other elements in our environment react the same. They don't care about scale. For instance, debris or dust. If it's large and it's far away, you expect it to move a lot slower. This is one of the reasons why we speed the film up, so when you see it on screen, everything looks like it's slower, heavier, more mass to it.
The publishing house. It was a lot of fun, and it took an effort from, let's say, coast to coast to pull this off.